Hello, everybody. This is Bart Baggett, and this is the Handwriting University Members Tutoring Call. Of course, if you're on the call, you're listening via replay, welcome. The purpose of this phone call is to give you the tutoring and the personal assistance and get all your questions answered as if I was sitting right next to you and teaching you how to get better at understanding personality through handwriting. If you do not have the handwriting samples in front of you, there's a very easy way to look at those. You need to be logged in with your handwritinguniversity.com account, but go to handwritinguniversity.com/classes, that's C-L-A-S-S-E-S. That'll redirect you right to the index of all the classes in 2014, 2015, and you'll see there's also lots of replays there. And so if you missed a class, feel free to listen to those and look at the handwriting samples. One of the pieces of feedback that I received recently at the Chicago Roundtable, where the 4 people that came, in addition to our mentors, they all passed their test. Congratulations to all those people. They are now certified handwriting analysts. They all had really great questions. And so this is a really easy way for you guys all around the world to get access to questions, clarify your test. If you're stuck on anything in the process, if you think analytical or investigative is confusing, if you don't know the difference between the personal pronoun I and the ego, all those questions, this is the place to do it. Some weeks I will host it. Other months we'll have one of our certified faculty members also host it. And we welcome all your call and all your questions. There is really no dumb question. Whose handwriting sample? Arlene, did you upload the handwriting sample underneath that is on a black background with white paper that says love is patient and kind?
No, I didn't. No, that isn't mine.
Carrie, is that yours?
No.
Okay, great. So let me give you my 2-minute analysis, which I based on feedback. That's one of their favorite parts of these calls, is hearing ways to word things in a way so that you can listen to the way I speak and then mirror that. Also, if you guys have the home study course, I know some of you on the phone do, there's a really good resource which some of the students that were at the certification weekend didn't know about or really didn't realize the value. And on Disc 17, there is a set of MP3 files, and it's about 12 hours of live interaction and seminar, but a lot of that 12 hours is me and other people looking at writing and just doing the analysis. And so by listening to that over and over, you get, when I say T-bar, we have 3 or 4 ways to say self-esteem. We pick some neat metaphors. So if you're looking for something to listen to while you're driving to work, I would highly recommend listening to that just because there's so many different people giving interpretations, and it makes you better analysis. I know that when I listened to Walker's cassette tapes, and this was back when they had cassette tapes, his way of phrasing things was so unique, and I would never have thought about it. And the same thing with Phyllis Mattingly. Unfortunately, Phyllis, I never had any audio, so I got just from listening to her. But that's something that takes a lot of time to master. So let me give you what I would say in 60 seconds, and I'll point it out for you. We're looking at the love and patient and kind note. Immediately the slant pops out as a pretty solid CD, maybe DE slant. Some of those are pretty solid DE. I'm eyeballing, I'm not using my gauge. The fluidity is kind of obvious. We have a lot of connectors. The T's go up, which is an optimism. The I's are really unique as far as it, and so that is that boat at the bottom. So you got the first stroke at the bottom, and it goes up. So that's going to be an issue with one of the parents in childhood. Sometimes you see the loops like that indicate some sexual issues as a child. It's hard to know what caused the trauma or if it was a parent or a grandparent, but there's something really awry with this person's relationship with one of their parents. And I say one of their parents is because there's a lot of controversy in the personal pronoun I. In fact, I would say it's never been 100%. So if I say it's the dad, sometimes it's the mom. If I say it's the mom, sometimes it's the dad. But in this case, something there has been perceived as some sort of issue with the parent. The persistence is obvious. We've got a very emotional person. You've got the DE slant. And then you've got sensitivity. And so there's 2 things that's really relevant is the patient and kind, the T. See how tall and retraced those T's are? Those are probably, I would call those arrogant or excessive pride. And so they also, in the D's, have sensitive criticism. So you have pride and dignity related to ideas and religion and philosophy, and then you have someone who's really sensitive to how he dresses or she dresses. So this person is going to be pretty sensitive, and then you're going to get the sarcasm, because we have sarcasm. So this is a very defensive person. The other thing that makes me think he's defensive and probably not very pleasant is the eye dots are all slashed. They're all slashed. They're slashed down, they're slashed sideways. They look like a frisbee, they look like a boomerang. That's all irritation and annoyance. So this person kind of lives on the edge of annoyance, and part of that defense mechanism is sarcasm. And they also have some interesting O's. If you look at the word love, that's a upside down O. So there's not a start and a stop, it is just a curve. So you could call that fluidity of thinking. But if you look down here at the word it does not, you also see that the O goes up and around, almost like an S. And that's a very odd shape. And so I don't see that much. And so when I see O's that are not formed normally, I immediately go to red flag. I wonder what this means. It's a communication letter. I think I'm going to reserve trust until I get more into it. I get more information about that. Dave, have you seen the O's which are upside down, and is there a specific meaning that you've come across in any of your readings that would help us identify what that means?
No, I don't. It's very close to like what we talked about earlier, the worry loop. But I haven't found anything definite on it. You often don't see it throughout a writing. I've never seen some person who does it consistently, just occasionally. And so sometimes I think it could be a little bit of fluidity, depending upon the letter before it and the letter that follows it.
And the other thing about the O, and this one I've never seen in person, I've only seen it in books, is if the O looks like a horseshoe, where it literally is upside down, where the open on the top is on the bottom of the baseline. I've heard that is just downright evil and demented and horrible and unethical, but I literally have never met anybody with an O that has a break at the baseline. It's very, very odd. So this one I would just put in the category of don't know, could be fluid, a lot of irritation. I'm not sure that I'm going to get along with this person very well.
And it's only once, so you have to take it into consideration, and that's about it.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't see the upside-down O here. What I see is a fluid O that sort of doesn't start and stop. So I'm probably going to lean toward the fluidity. Probably a bright guy. I mean, I think you've got a lot of emotion and a lot of energy for sure.
But the person's generous.
Yes, and generosity could also be seen as a desire for attention. You've got a lot of pride, so you know he's going to care about how he dresses. And generosity is one of those great ways to get people to like you. So I'm not saying it's horrible, but I don't want to cross this guy. I feel like he's going to get condescending. He's going to get irritated easily, and he's going to let his emotions really make his decisions versus logic.
Bart, I had a question on the love is. Did you notice on several S's that there's that sharp point, a deformed S? Yeah,
that reminds me of what they call a sickle hook or even a backwards felon's claw. And so anytime there's a letter that's completely out of the ordinary, I put up a red flag and I don't know what it means. You also have seen sometimes lowercase a's printed like a typewriter. It kind of looks like that as well. So anytime I see a hook that looks like that, I just put it in the category of, I don't know what that means. It's not in the book, but it's odd. And so the more deviant any handwriting is from normal, the more I have questions, and I sort of put them in a category of like, I'm suspicious about that. That's the way I handle it, and that's something you should realize. And one of the things that I think the people at the Certification Roundtable realized is there's not a meaning for every stroke. That's just impossible because there's thousands and thousands of strokes. But the ones that we do know are very, very accurate, and those we don't know, we could speculate or at least put them in the category of good, bad, based on some of the more gestalt elements such as rounded and arcade and pointy, etc.
All right.
Would you consider their his M's and N's procedural?
Procedural, no. I think that there is points on the top of at least half of them, and then we've got the baseline, which has got angles on the M's and N's, and then the last sentence we have arcades, like rejoices with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So the arcades are more feminine. So he really has both. He's got arcades at the baseline, and he has angles at the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
But the points on the top are what I'm gonna judge as far as the analytical and quickness. But you're correct. Like the word not, that's a rounded M. But then you've got envy and pointed M. So you've got someone that can go back and forth from very, very quick to very, very procedural. So I would probably not even bring it up because it has both elements.
Okay.
Would you say with these pointed T's, back to the humor, that I think he might be kind of a sarcastic individual. It's like, almost you read this, you feel like it's a person who's writing it who has not experienced these things.
Well, first of all, I didn't read it at all because I never read the content. I think that's distracting. I always look at just the letters. He does have sarcasm, which is correct. I love the fact that he pointed that out. People that are sarcastic and irritated and quick-minded, you probably will have a decent sense of humor. And I do think that the wavy T-bar could absolutely be interpreted as humor. And I wish the person on the phone could tell us because I think it would probably confirm that he's clever. But he could be clever condescending, which can still be funny. Don't get me wrong. When you're emotional and you talk and you're talkative, you definitely can be funny. But I like to tell you when I don't know something so you know that it's okay not to know because every stroke doesn't have a meaning. And when you're learning it, sometimes you think, and this is the experience we had in Chicago, is they thought, well, there's so much I don't know. Yet they did know 100-plus traits because they passed their test. And that made them feel good that, okay, there's this stuff that they know and there's stuff you don't know, and it's okay not to know every stroke.
Say this person has a temper.
I would because he's arrogant and because he's irritated. So when you get arrogance and irritated and sarcasm, you got that. And then you also have some of the T's on the right side, but they're not clinical textbook temper. But I would say, if you had to ask yes or no, it would be a yes. Check your emails. Thank you for being a silver or gold member. And then our next class is already posted. It is in October, and the dates are right there. And remember, you've got almost 8 hours or more of teleclasses that have been recorded on this section, so feel free to go back and listen to those at your leisure. And as soon as we hang up here, this entire replay will go online. You can download it. You can listen to it. And we discuss suppression, repression, word loops, circle eye dots, loyalty, stingers, and so much other on this call. And it was so glad that you guys joined me. And my name is Bart Baggett, Handwriting University, and I'll talk to you next month. Bye, everybody.
Thank you much. Good night, everyone.
All right, thanks.
Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.